Hey everyone, Chef here. Welcome back to Planet Zoo in Empirical Sahara, our arid African desert themed zoo. In the last episode, we did our final bit of detailing in the Arid Sahara section of the zoo, which is now done after mostly done. You'll see, after I continued to do a little bit more detailing work off screen. The problem is that we didn't finish our staff building research. So we have our restroom, or our staff room, our keeper hut, great. We have quarantine, we have surgery, we have a second staff room, great. I want to replace these buildings with a larger building that sits right here in this plot. And we are currently not able to do that because we don't have the building. So we're gonna have to wait a little longer for research to finish. And I still had an extra year or so, or an extra month or so of time to finish my detailing, but I figured, why not? Let's just spin up the next month anyway. So, what have I worked on in the off time? I kind of built out this section a bit. I've continued this fort motif from over in the camel section. We have broken up sightlines into the staff areas here. This is a super simple fence with more of the decorative strip, I think the African decorative strip. So just made like a really simple, rough looking fence. We put some more of them in over here to kind of break up this sight line as well. So that if you're wandering down the path and, you look to your right, you can kind of see some buildings back there, but for the most part, it's just broken up by some landscaping, by some fence work. There are a few places that I still need to fill in a bit. Like here we can fill in, back here we can fill in. This planter box design I really like. I want to extend it down here and over through some of these, but I figured if I don't have the big research center done, then I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. There's also this spot over here that I just don't know what to do with. It's almost big enough to be a really small exhibit, but it's nestled pretty deep in the staff area, and I'm not really sure what would go there. So we may save this for, something else that we come up with. I don't know. And that's pretty much all I did. So this section, basically done. And what we're going to be working on today is going to extend out into here, which is going to be our Horn of Africa section. There are going to be 7 animals here. We are going to have the Somali wild ass, the American standard donkey, striped hyena, caracal, hamadryas baboon, Egyptian fruit bat, and red fox, which are going to make up this section. As far as it's concerned geographically, Somali wild ass, the section of the world that we're talking about is in here. This area primarily composed of like Somalia, but I was also thinking it could be interesting to extend it up to include a few parts of the Nile River Valley, because then we can get the Egyptian fruit bat in here as well as here. We can also get the red fox in here, which is just an extra animal that we could have in this area. According to the Planet Zoo Wiki, they live around the Nile River Valley, and according to the Zoopedia, they can live in deserts. So that's something that we could include as well as animals that just traditionally live in that area. Things like the Hamadryas baboon. And then the American standard donkey, well, not really an African animal, I thought would be interesting to have a comparison next to the Somali wild ass. Because I think there was something in here about why they're endangered. They are at risk of interbreeding with domestic donkey breeds. So I thought it would be neat if we not necessarily had a combined exhibit, obviously, because I think we're still going to be interested in like conservation efforts for a Somali wild ass, but to have a side-by-side exhibit where we have Somali wild ass in one exhibit, and then we have an American standard donkey in the other one, so the guests can kind of compare for themselves. So we have a lot to fit into this space, and we may end up using parts of this space as well. Given that we want to have a little bit of Nile River Valley in here, I also thought it would be interesting if we had a bit of a water feature come through here. So like this might be water. And then it comes around here. We can do a little bit of terraforming there. We can have it swing up a little bit, and then we can put a small exhibit here that is then backed by the water. And then we could do the same thing over here if we decide to. Just have a bit of a meandering water path through here. I think could be the kind of thing that looks interesting. I don't exactly know where it's going to terminate, but for now we'll just bring it down to about here, and we can figure the rest of that out later. So, what we're going to do in this episode is we're just going to chart out where everything is going to live. We're going to do the same kind of path dragging activities that we did over here. We're just going to get everything really roughly framed out. We're going to use standard Planet Zoo barriers to get initial animals in. And then over the course of the next, 9 episodes or so, because we're also going to have food court back here, we're also going to have staff area back here, we're going to have some general decorating that we need to do. We'll start working through this area. So, before we start putting down path, I do just want to revisit our rough design that we sketched out here and make sure it still makes sense. And I want to start to plot out some of the sizes of the habitats that we're going to be working with. So thinking about what's the first thing that guests are going to see when they come in, I don't want to have any animal viewing here because I think that path could get fairly congested. So I think it makes sense to put rough sand in here and have that kind of be a block to viewing. And then sure, we could continue that around there. Which means that your entrance into the Horn of Africa is really going to be here and probably over here with maybe a small exhibit right here. So this path I actually think is going to be staff path. Let's snip that back. We'll have staff path that comes in like this. And then this is going to be our backstage. We'll have it run kind of in the middle of the rest of this. And right here, I think is going to be our plaza. Our little rest area plaza. I think it'll look really neat to have it against the water feature we're going to have over here as a backdrop. So we'll also want a staff path that hooks in fairly close to that. And it might be something like this. So we can back this up. And then we may also have part of the staff path come down like here. Just to plug in there for a little bit of a shortcut. And that gives us a bit of an initial shape to some of these habitats, although this comes back really far. Maybe that means this is where your staff buildings are going to go. Nah, it's kind of a walk to the food court then. I think you want them closer to like here. So that you're really minimizing the travel distance that your zoo staff is going to go. Oh, and speaking of zoo staff, we hired a ton of people. Because I wasn't actually recording an episode, I had a bit of time to actually look at how the zoo was doing. It turns out that every single one of our keepers was insanely overworked. I think I hired 4 more, and they're still mostly overworked. We may even need to hire more. I got a 3rd vet. I doubled the number of educators that we have. We're up to 6. Our mechanics were doing fine. Our security guard somehow is doing fine and has no workload. I grabbed another caretaker. 2 caretakers are actually doing really well. And then I think I grabbed another like 7 vendors, mostly for guest services. So we're going to let that run for a little bit, and then we're going to reevaluate how much work they have to do. But we did a lot of hiring in the downtime as well. So my concern with this exhibit as it stands here is, 1, it's not easy to, maybe this does end up being guest path. Maybe the guest path that comes out here and then terminates in like a viewing area here. I don't yet know what this habitat is going to be. I feel like I could probably draw a line about there that would split these in half. But then it's a long way to look into this one, so maybe we have a line like here as well. And then this would be theming. Something like that. And then the same thing back here. Pretty far to see in. So we might have something like that, and then this might be theming. And that's space that we can cut into if we need to. Over here on the other side, I think this has the potential to be a really neat-looking habitat. It's kind of at the corner of the river. There's a little bit of a walk around. We could even do like a little split guest path here. Have this be like another raised viewing section. So I like how this comes out. Here, we probably want this to connect into our path like that. And then this would be the back wall of another habitat. And this would be theming. So we could fill this in. And then I think I would be okay with this being guest path. We may... Well, you're pretty close to that rest stop over there. I think we may want a rest stop here. Because the path is going to swing wide here. And it's going to go into this back area. We may put the fruit bat near here, now that I look at it. Yeah, we'll think about it. And all of this is going to need to get flattened to make the river actually work, but we can do that later on. That doesn't need to happen right now. So this is space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could do 6 and 7 in here somewhere, but these are looking a little small, and the animals that we're going to be putting in need a lot of space. Like, I actually don't think we can pull this off, because this is probably going to end up being the striped hyenas. This is one of the flagship animals for this section. They live all over the place in the Horn of Africa, granted in the Sahara as well. So they're a good transition species for coming into this section of the zoo because they exist in both. But the point is that they live in groups of up to 7. So we're probably going to do 1 female, 3 males, and then how big is your litter size? 2 to 4. Should probably plan to have like 3 juveniles. It's going to be a 1,600 meter exhibit, which means we want to plan for about 32. So, if we hop into barriers and we just start laying some of this out, we just want to get a rough idea of the size of this enclosure right now. And we're aiming for something fairly big. You can come around here and then around here, and we can clean up exactly how that barrier works later on. So like that. So your habitat gate is going to sit over here maybe. You are 2676. That's about where we need it, honestly. So that's good. I also like that it has a very funky shape. We could put like a big... I know we use a ton of rock all the time, but man, we could put like a big rock structure back here that makes the habitat look like it's split in two. So this is going to be striped hyenas. Working our way back, I would really like to make this the Hamadryas baboon, because I can line the back of it with rock that's going to cover up this staff path. Make it more difficult to pierce the veil of what's going on in the habitat. So let's get a sense of how big this space is. You connect in here. Stick a gate over here. We go to our Hamadryas baboon. We have a group size of 100. I'm telling you, we're probably not going to do 100 Hamadryas baboons, but I do want a lot of baboons in here. Maybe we'll aim for like 18 and 6. That'd require 700, so we're aiming for about 1,1500 in here. We're at 1140, so this one would need to be a little bigger. we can do that. We can have it extend out this way a little bit. The other thing we could do if we're really desperate for space... Actually, let's just do it now. We'll kill this viewing gallery idea that we had. And we'll just have it swing out in front. Maybe we can still do something interesting with a viewing gallery there. 1772. Considering we're going to have a ton of rocks in here, I think that's much more reasonable. And in fact, we could even go a little bigger. Like, let's say we go 26, then we'd be aiming for something like 1400. I can snip this little weird end piece off, I think, at that point. You can get out of here. And you can just connect like this. Maybe even pull this in a little. 1436. I think that's good enough. We can fiddle with that a bit. We could push it back a little bit. We could move this staff path back a little bit. We could bring this path out wider. There's ways that we can make that fit. So this is going to be Hamadryas baboon. Here, I'm not going to have enough space to do Somali wild ass plus American standard donkey. Both of them need about 1,000, I think. Let's confirm this. So you have a group size of like 4, 2 juveniles in there. Yeah, you're going to be like 1,200, so we need 2,000 for you. If we go ahead and plug this in, let's cut a little bit into our proposed sand feature. And then you wrap back around like this. You'll have a gate here. Looking at 2K. 1904, good enough. But I actually think that's the caracal that I want in here. Which, we're going to have 2 of them. Oh, you actually don't need as much space as I thought. Maybe this is not Hamadryas baboon then. Maybe this is Somali wild ass. And then maybe the American standard donkey needs less room. American standard donkey. 500. That's looking promising so far. Let's do the same 4 and 1. We need 1025. This is 15. I'd really like to get that to 18, but I can do that. We'll just put in this weird offshoot again. Pull you back a bit. And then have you connect up here. Actually, you don't even need to do this. You can, like, get rid of this spot. And then just pull this all the way back against the map. And then you'll have a gate, you know, here. 1904, much better. American standard donkey. Which should give us a great amount of space here to put a caracal in. But I want a staff path to run through here so that they have a bit of a shortcut. So show me hidden barriers, please. I'm just going to have a little cheeky staff path here that lets them take a shortcut back in. So this will probably be one building, and then this will be a second building. Because we don't need a lot back here. We should probably have a surgery, but we probably don't need a quarantine. We definitely don't need an animal trade center. And we don't need a mechanics workshop, although we probably will have a research workshop back here because I want to do a lot of research to keep our education up. So something like that is probably all the space we're going to need, and we can just have it split into 2 buildings. Then over here, we would have room for caracal. Ideally. Let's take a look. Come back like this. And just come down like here. Put a gate in. 1136. I don't think that's going to be enough. 701 and 162 of climbing. Actually, you have up to 4 offspring. We're shooting for 1600 here. That's fine. Just move this path. This path doesn't need to be that close. You could actually have this path plug in. If you intend on using that piece of grass as your guest path marker, that is. And then continue this along a little further. Then you can have gate here. You can have that be your staff path connection, and then you have lots of fun theming back here. Does that get you closer, like 1608? I think I can work with that. That'll be Caracal. So we still need to add Hamadryas baboon, Egyptian fruit bat, red fox. Maybe Hamadryas baboon goes here. Because it is kind of across from this mountain. So if you walked through here, you'd have big mountain on your left. And then on your right, you're going to have a second big mountain in the Hamadryas baboon exhibit. You are going to want to put a standoff section here, so definitely mark that out. And then this guest path would come around like this with a continued standoff, and then it would probably turn into theming about... What is this section going to be? Is that going to be your red fox? Because red foxes don't need a lot of space. I don't know. Don't worry about that right now. For now, just say that's going to be staff path. Alright. Barriers. I already feel like this is looking a little big for a Hamadryas baboon. I'm going to start the barrier behind where I want to put the ditch that's going to hold them in, so that I have a better idea of how much space this is going to take, but eventually that barrier is going to come all the way out to cover off that section. So actually you want this to go about here. And then like here, and then around this way. And what were you looking for size here? That doesn't look bad so far. Hamadryas baboon. You wanted like 20 and 6. You're looking for about 1,500, maybe 1,600. Just to err on the side of caution. It's right on target. That's going to be Hamadryas baboon. And then there's this weird spot. What would you be? There's only there's only one thing that you can be. This has to be red fox. Everything else has been put in. So seal off the Caracal section. Put a habitat gate here. How much space does a red fox need? I think we're only going to have one breeding pair in here. Then they have 3 to 6, so we'll say 2 and 4. They want 370. That's 748. That's actually perfect. And then the last one that you wanted to put in is your Egyptian fruit bat, which is actually a walkthrough. Could you put it... So there's going to be river here. This is going to be food court. This is going to be path. We'll swing this around, and then we'll have some interesting feature here. And then, how big are you again? Really big. Yeah, huge, man. So big. I don't think that's gonna work there. It might work here. It's probably gonna be here. So I'm going to use null barrier to remind myself where this goes. We'll go like this. And then we'll go like this. I'm going to put a gate here, but it's only so that I can name this. And we're going to call it Egyptian fruit bat. And eventually we'll tear that whole thing down and we'll replace it with the actual walk. So I think that's roughly the shape that the Horn of Africa is going to take. And I also like that it is kind of itself a horn-shaped section of the zoo. So let's get our path... No, let's get our water in first, because placing water after anything else is a giant headache. We are going to flatten the foundation, maybe about size 7. And we're just going to trace the spot where we left the center. And we'll smooth out some of those edges afterwards. You go up here for some reason. I don't know what I'm going to put in there. That actually could have been another exhibit in retrospect. And then you're going to turn, you're going to swing out like this. So there'll be a nice little water feature behind the other food court as well. And then you swing down here, and I'm not sure where you go after that, but we'll figure it out. And we smooth along here. Just to clean up some of these rough edges. We probably just flatten this whole thing. I don't know what I'm going to do with you. Because there is probably room in there for another hole exhibit. I'm just not sure what I would want to put there. Actually, you know what? I do know what I can put there. It's not going to be an exhibit. Not actually going to be anything mechanically. But we're going to have the path split. And we'll just have a little, like, Nile River walk section that joins into the path later, and we'll just have, like, a couple diagonals that come through here and let that path rejoin. So we'll put, like, some education boards over here, and that is something that will actually pull guest traffic into this area a little bit, but it'll fracture this path out. It'll make it look a little bit more interesting. It'll hopefully relieve congestion around the caracals, I think is what this was going to be. And it'll just be like a neat little thing. That's also going to be theming. This is correctly tagged as theming. 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 Oh, we could put an info center in here too, like an info center and a gift shop, because the only other info center is all the way at the start of the zoo. Actually, that's a sick idea. We'll just earmark that right now. We'll have a second gift shop back here. So that's roughly how the water's going to look. Let's grab our flattened terrace tool. We're going to push this down just slightly. And then we're going to increase the terrace height by 1. Is, I thought, how that worked, but obviously not. I thought this was supposed to, like, push it down by an extra level. Oh, there we go. Alright. I need to not do the shallow pool offset. Terrace me down to 1. That's what we wanted. So eventually we'll have this run all the way down the canyon, and I'm going to leave a tiny sliver of space along here, just in case we decide that we want guests to be able to walk down this eventually. I don't think the zoo is ever going to be big enough to justify putting anything back here, but just in case we ever get to that point... Actually, that's such a long walk. That would probably be a transport ride. It could be cool in its own way. But, well, look. Pull it back around the corner. Because that way the headwaters of the imposter Nile River will be hidden from guests. So when it gets to like here, it's just going to terminate. But if you are a guest in the food court over here, you don't know that. This looks like it goes on forever. And then we'll keep pulling you around this way. Have you turn a corner here. If we're not going to have anything behind this food court, then I can have it get a little wider here. Gonna have it bump up against the path again there. And then here, I'm not sure if this is going to be Savannah Trails yet, or if it's going to be Namib Kalahari. But I'll leave a little bit of space in case I decide to turn this into an exhibit. So for example, we could have the grass come to like here and then come out and then come back in. Rejoin the river, and we could have space for some kind of habitat here. So does water fit in? Obstructed. I'd really rather you not. It must be because some of the shores are too high. So we're going to pull very slightly everything in front of the path. Give me like flatten to foundation 2. I'm going to hope that this is the problem. We'll see if I'm right or not. Probably need to have you come out a little further to leave room for this path. Definitely need to have you come out further to make room for the path. Hey, it certainly looks like it was too low. Around. This looks like it's starting to get more flush now. Now will you let me? Still no? It's really thinking about it. It wants to. Can you check the water level on the other side? Yeah, it actually needs to come up just a little bit more. About to like here. Yeah, okay. It needs to be about that high. I can do that. I think this is true. I'm not sure. I'm not, like, the best person at water or terraforming in Planet Zoo on the planet. But I believe that water in Planet Zoo can only exist at very specific levels. Rather than just, like, being on a sliding scale. You can only place it in, like, 1 meter increments. So we need to raise the banks of this river up past the current threshold that this water wants to sit at in order to get it to rest in here and look natural. Everything else we can work around. We can have just a very gradual slope that comes off of this riverbank that makes it look like we didn't do any terrain work at all. We need to get the water to sit in first. We'll just keep pulling you around. just the right height. Pull you back. Still obstructed, really? Is it because the bank on the other side is too tall? What if I pull you up a bit? No, that's push. What if I pull you up to about here? Oh, I wonder if it's a problem at the other end. Like if it's going to get snooty about this. Hey, that's where the problem was. All right. So we have our Nile River in. And now we can do a bit of sculpting around the banks to roughen out these edges. Or smoothen out these edges, rather. Get this looking a little more natural. Can't smooth too much, otherwise we're going to pull the terrain down from where we actually need it to be. We can do really light smoothing back here. It really doesn't matter that much. This is going to be never viewable from the guest perspective, for at least the medium term. If we need to rework some of the paths, we can. It's totally fine. You wouldn't do this to me. We smooth too much. Alright, we go again. I'm going to assume that it's a problem. Well, you know what? We can actually just follow this. Anytime I see it like trickling over to the other side, I'm going to assume that's where our problem is. You can follow this line around. Looks fine in all of these spots. Maybe here. That wasn't it. That spot looks a little dicey. That wasn't it. That looks a little dicey as well. Also, oh, there it is. That's the spot. You are the source of all of my problems. Yep. Alright, there you go. I think I may... Well, there's a couple places that I want to clean up just a tiny bit. Still good. Yeah, I may just say that's good enough. Alright. I think we're okay to leave that in for a little while. At least so I can get the path down. So let's go grab our rustic path, 7 meter. Hold down control so it doesn't try and snap to itself. This is going to plug in here, and then we're also going to have you plug in... You know what, like that is actually fine. We can do a little barrier adjustment here. Something like that. So this is one entry into the Horn of Africa. Also, flattened terrain. Leave flattened terrain off, because you might get some interesting wrinkles in your path along here. And then if you end up not liking it, you can turn it on. But if you had flattened your path, like, over here, for example, I think it wouldn't look nearly as interesting. So let's leave it flattened path off and see if we get any of that same interesting complexion. Then, what kind of path do we want to use back here? Crazed stone looks kind of fun. Take me down to 4. Run like this, and then align it to grid. Where are you going to put the shop here? Also, I think this plaza, you might want that. Yeah, but how are you going to get your shops to fit in here? They could go back here, I guess. So then you only want the grid to come out about this far. Yeah, roughly. And then get rid of this water briefly. So that you can grid this up. And put your water back in. No, it's going to get very mad about that. Alright, then add a little bit of a levee here. There you go. This is not going to be a big guest plaza. Could you put guest facilities into the water? Turn off movements. Like, if you line this guy up to here, and you sink it, you could fudge that a bit with building pieces. How far out would it let you go? Not that far. Alright, you need to slightly adjust the course of this river. Basically, this needs to come out like this. So that you have space to put concessions. And really it should be flat to this. And then you'll have to raise some levees around it. Have you connect back in here like that. Then, from here, run that along the back. And then smooth this out. There. That buys you the extra space that you need to actually put your shops in. There you go. Alright. Rustic path back up to 7 meters, please. Select the grid. You mad about the barrier? Is that your problem? Terrain modification failed. Oh yeah, don't flatten. You're gonna come through like this. I'm just gonna try and keep this away from that riverbank that's actually holding things back. Down to about there. Yeah, for now. Come back over here. Get this path to actually plug into your concessions area. Pull this barrier back ever so slightly. This is why we leave extra room. Get you to connect in there. This needs to be pulled back. 7-meter paths are wider than you think. tighten all of this up. And then here it can come out much wider. What was your plan? Oh, you're a shortcut. I don't remember what you are. Yeah. This is gonna be a weird section of path. Take me down to 5 meters here. We'll have the wider section of path run along the river, and then the narrower section of path will run up against the caravels. And then it's going to rejoin about there. Take me back to the 7-meter piece. Really don't like that. Stop trying to connect. Stop it. There you go. And then you're going to come meandering through here before you make this corner and you head into whatever the next section of the zoo ends up being. Take this down to 5. You're going to plug back in like that. You'll have this shoot across like that. This shoot across like that. This is going to be your staff path connection. Just like that. I probably want to put you on a grid here. Just to make building placement easier later. So back that up by a little bit, back that up by a little bit more. And then connect in like that. You stop. Turn off angle snap. It's looking too rigid. You'll hook in here. Then you'll hook in here. And you'll hook in there, I guess. Although I don't love that. I may end up moving these. I'm gonna move these gates. I do not like how that looks. You can come further down to about here. And then you have a much nicer connection. There you go. You're going to come out and around here. Connect up like that. You connect in like this. I just want you to... I want you to not snap to these habitat gates, but I want you to place the... Oh my god. I cannot control the game today. So you're going to connect in there. Get rid of this weirdness. Take me up to like length 3. I do not think for a second that I will not just destroy this barrier to get this path to do what I want. Was that what you wanted? Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And then this is going to come through like this. So that's almost all the staff paths you want to have in. There's also this section. That's all the staff path you want to have in. So we have this nice central location. All of our main staff buildings are going to sit here. If we decide to put even more staff buildings in, we can expand down to this section for whatever reason. I don't know why we'd necessarily need to, but we could if we wanted. Let's finish putting in the last bits of our guest path. I can immediately tell that's going to need to back up. So you're going to come out to here, and then I do want you to angle snap. I want to have a raised viewing platform here, I think. Which is really going to make this staff path a nightmare. But I think we'll live with it. So have you go up, but I want a much shorter staircase. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's it. I don't need it to go super high up. And then we'll align this to grid. We'll just have you go like that. And that's going to be our raised viewing platform. And then off the back of it, we're going to have this piece of staff path. Which hopefully does not give me too much guff. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back up to level. This looks very wonky, but pretty sure I can clean that up. And let's do a little bit of barrier readjustment here to account for our viewing area. We're going to slide these around a bit to actually get like chain link fence in here. This can come out to around here. These will almost certainly need to get backed up in order to provide chain link. We should also probably have a trench in here. I don't think you want guests getting too close to hyenas. And then we also need to connect you to path. Easy. So you're down to 2592. That should still be fine. We have so much extra space back here to play with. This is going to be really easy shelter to put in if hyenas need hard shelter. I don't actually know if they do or not. You're missing your gate. That's right, we need to put your gate back in. Because you were disagreeable. I believe you've learned your lesson. I saw a connection in it that I really liked. You're alright. This was Hamadryas Baboon, I believe. Did I get upset at anybody else? Can you all please remind me what you are? Habitat 26, you're Red Fox. Empirical, that's fine. Hamadryas Baboon, that's fine. You are American Standard Donkey. And then you're Striped Hyena. So I think that's everybody, right? We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 habitat doors. Yeah, that should be everyone. Let's start putting some animals down. Well, first let's upgrade barriers. Striped hyena. Grade 2 over 4 feet. I believe that's just a standard 2-meter fence. Swing you all the way around like this. Easy. And then how many of those did we want? We wanted 1 female and 3 males, I think. Right? 1 male. No, 1 female, 3 males. That's right, they're matriarchal. 1 female, 1, 2, 3 males. Send it to Z. Should we give it its own quarantine back here? We have so much real estate for it that I guess we might as well. Yeah. Let's do it. We also will almost certainly need to take out a loan today, but that shouldn't really be news to you. Give me a keeper hut. How much space do I have to give in the American Standard Donkey? 1772. Not a ton. Okay. Then you might wind up being Keeper Hut Quarantine. And then we'll pull these barriers back to match. Keeper Hut will get a nice view of the donkeys, though. That's fun for you. This is Horn of Africa Keeper Hut. This is Horn of Africa Quarantine. Do you ever name these guys? No. Should probably go back and do that so that you can keep them straight later on. Now that you're going to have 2 of these work zones. Other facilities you'll need. Definitely 1 large staff room. Maybe only 1 large staff room. Large staff room here. You can have a vet surgery. Yeah, you can. And then this will be your research building. And if you need an extra staff room, you can put a second smaller staff room right here, and you can just keep eating into the American Standard Donkey exhibit, because you could pull these barriers back to make even more space. In fact, we'll just do it now. Because what I would like to do here, and honestly, I'll just do it now, so that I don't have to worry about it later. I want to have specialized staff rooms back here. So, you are going to move over 1. You can't move over 1. That's annoying. This is going to cost me a lot of money to fix. It's just like $3,000 wasted. Actually, it's $6,000 wasted, but who's counting? Add this to group. Delete this. Move this so it's there on the grid. Then get your Keeper Hut large, add it to this group. Then get your quarantine small. Add it to this group. I'm not even fussed about the money. We'll make it back. The zoo turns a hell of a profit these days. Made 35 last year. That's nothing to sneeze at. Alright, so that is going to be our... Oh, you need power back here, too. That's right. And you're going to need water treatment. Alright, take your loan out. 10% interest, 10, 10, and 5. 5 on 20k is not bad. Let's take that. I don't think we'll need more. Can I please see utilities? You're gonna need a pair of transformers. You're gonna need 1 to go way down here in order to reach the staff facilities over there. Yep, that reaches. Then you're gonna need another one like here. You might even need a 3rd one down here. Good lord. Okay. So you'll have a second transformer here. Let's put it here. It'll be just a little further away from guests. I'm pretty sure with scenery we could make it negligible anyway, but over here it will definitely be negligible, and we still get the power coverage that we want out of it. Yeah, you're gonna need a 3rd. You're gonna need a 3rd generator somewhere down there. You might need to use like solar or something like that, so it doesn't cheese off your guests. Now we'll worry about that later. Also, this is so annoying. They're actually so close to each other. Yeah, that's annoying. This one generator is doing such great work for us. After we just ship it, you know what? What doesn't it hit? It's not going to hit anything that you want it to hit over there. This, I could probably live with not having power coverage on. This, I cannot live with not having power coverage on. You would want a generator to go here, actually. Okay, that seems much more reasonable. Yeah, have one down here. And then I think if you put a water treatment next to it, you will be able to reach the river if you ever need to treat the river. Yeah. Put it in now, and then later if you need it, that's great news. Okay. So except for this small patch here, you're good on power. But remember that you're not going to have anything along this wall. It's all going to be decorative and scenery. So the first place that stuff that needs power kicks in is along here. I think that's workable. And if that's going to be the case, then we'll pull our theming up here just a little bit further. So you're really not going to be able to see much of the hyenas from this path, but that's fine, because I don't want guests to stop here and look into the hyena exhibit. I want them to keep moving, because this is going to be a super high traffic area. So it's going to force them to come down here to look. They've got some nice sightlines there. They can come up here to look, and obviously they'll have nice sightlines up here. It's not going to be the greatest visibility of any habitat that I've ever made, but it should be pretty good. You're also going to need to set up a work group. You're going to need to set up multiple work groups back here. You should probably also set up your guest services back here. Food stalls. We'll do a chief beef. Actually, we could vary it up a bit over here. Let's do a chief beef. I don't have the water unlocked yet. Alright, chief beef, gulpy. Bernie's bakes. Second gulpy because it's a desert and it gets hot. Can I just smooth this section of path out a little bit? Oh, it's really not gonna like it if you try and delete that. Oh, it's never mind, it's fine. It's good, it's chill. And then you can also corner all of these over. There you go. You're gonna need to find a place to put bathrooms in here as well. Yeah, you are. Maybe you shouldn't quite square that off yet. Flat terrain. Raised stone. Flat grid. Take it here. I don't really feel like you flattened the terrain there, but that's fine. I'll do it myself. Cut this back. Move this off, obviously. Facility. It's all of our money's gone already. This is our entire loan. Up in smoke. Alright, you slide over to about here. You don't look very flat. I think that means you need to remove sections of this path so that you can actually use the Flatten the Foundation terrain tool. And then you need to attempt to put this path back together, which it's going to hate because it's not on a grid anymore. Actually, maybe it's fine with it. And then can I just get a cheeky little connection in here? Will you allow me this? I don't want it to look like a... You know, maybe I'm fine with it looking kind of like a boat. We can put theming in there, and it gives a little bit of separation to the stalls and the bathrooms. You will go here, and how much... I can get you to about there. And then there. Alright, so we have that in. That's a functioning guest services plaza that is power covered. Great news. What else do you need to set up a work zone? Nothing. That's it. That's everything you're going to need. Work zones? New work zone. This is going to be Horn of Africa Animal Care. Horn of Africa Animal Care is going to have a smaller staff workforce, so you are going to get the smaller staff room. And then you are also going to get this, 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 eventually that, but I actually don't think I need to include you right now. Do I put... I don't think I put the generator... No, I do, because I need handymen to come by and do maintenance on the fences. So these need to be in there as well. This is going to be Horn of Africa Animal Care. Then we need a second new work zone that is going to be you. And that may literally be it. Like, you just need the staff room and the buildings. And then this is Horn of Africa Guest Services. And now we're going to want to populate these. You're going to need to take another one. That's crazy. Caretaker. Keeper. Mechanic. Security. Vet. Educator. Work zones. You are a caretaker? I can never remember the difference between a caretaker and a keeper. Benches, transport animal, toilets, bins, litter. Okay, you are guest services. Educator? You are... I guess technically you should be... Wait, did I think I added you to Arid Sahara. Where did you go? Where are my caretakers? Yeah, I don't need one on animal care. I need Horn of Africa Guest Services. There you go. Don't do that again. It's going to be impossible to find them if you assign them incorrectly. This is Horn of Africa Guest Services. Horn of Africa Guest Services. And then Animal Care, Animal Care, Animal Care. And I think you're good. That's everything that you should need to function. With the obvious exception being that you're going to need like 3 times that much staff for this area to actually function, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Give me my striped hyenas. Send them to quarantine. I will also need Somali wild ass. All females. I think I wanted 3 and 1 male. So I'll grab the 3. I'll grab 3 of the females now. I guess just grab the 3 that are youngest. But I'm going to leave them in the animal center until there is a male available. American Standard Donkey is going to have the same herd size. 3 females, 1 male. 1 female, 2 female, 3 female. Caracol. We're looking for one male. Oh, God, these are expensive. That's so much money. That's fine, we can afford it. Let's go ahead and get you as a female and you as a male. Then you're also going to want red fox 2. Red fox. These should be super cheap. They're not somehow. 1, 2. If you're wondering why I'm not spending the conservation credits, it's because eventually we're going to have elephants in this zoo. And African savanna elephants are real freaking expensive. Like, I'm not even looking at the ones that are 6K gold star. I'm looking at the ones that are 700 a pop for just a normal elephant. We could only afford 2 of those right now. So we need to save up a lot more conservation credits before we can think about having animals in the Arid Sahara trails section. We're going to spend as much money as possible before we start thinking about using our conservation credits. And then Hamadryas baboon. I need a lot of these guys. I may buy every single one here. I'm gonna. Alright, that's all $20,000 of our loan gone. Vanished into smoke, but it's also all of the animals that we need for this section. Let's start getting some of them in. We just reposition a few of these bins in preparation of our new area. Duplicate me. Carry these along. Let's start getting this section of the zoo set up and ready for guests. We'll also have some up here in case people have litter to throw away. Oh, and you also never finished this path up here. Hold on. 7. Do not angle snap me. You're going to come meandering through here. Do not flatten terrain. Do not try and snap to that staff path. Do not try and snap to that staff path. Stop this. Alright, you know what? We'll remember that this is Egyptian crickbat. You are causing me too much consternation, however, and you must go. Also, it is absolutely pouring over here right now, so if you hear any weird noises on the microphone, that is rain outside. Big fan, personally, but just in case you hear it. Okay, so we have bought every animal that we need. We could get benches in as well while we wait for them to pass quarantine and get transported. Let's go ahead and bench down. This would be a nice place to sit along the river. Here along this little corner. As long as you can convince the train to let you do what you want to do. These spots as well, premium sitting locations. Okay, obviously up here. Need some bench action. You should also have some bin action up here. What? I thought I put these in quarantine. What are you doing over here? Hello? How did this happen? I'm gonna have to emergency capture all of these. Move to... Oh, you know what? I bet I accidentally clicked on American Standard Donkey instead of quarantine. Here, you go to quarantine. You go to quarantine. You emergency capture. You go to quarantine. Please come and get these animals before somebody freaks the frick out. 3-star education rating? That's great news. Vet research complete? That's also great news. We have so much more vet research to do now. Oh, man. Sandcat, what new stuff did we get for you? Sand. Why are you doing it like this? Why are you doing it this way? You're actually good. You have all of their enrichment items. There's nothing new for you to get out of that except for getting their tier 3 food. So that's good. Anyway, let's get these striped hyenas into quarantine. Let's repair this fence. There's no way this works. It's gonna be too close to path in like 4 different places. Never mind. We're good. This is Somali wild ass. Would I happen to have more available? Still all female. Okay. They are not happy. Why are you... No. Why are you... No. Alright, fine. Put him in, and then I'm immediately moving him to quarantine. This is not where you're supposed to go. You don't know what you're doing. Quarantine. There you go. Can you please pick him up before he escapes? He's making a break for it. Good. Yes, you can outrun a hyena. That's great news. You also probably want to hire like 2 more vendors for that food court area. You also probably want to put some benches in. Here, and like here. Yeah, not much, but a little bit. Just waiting for our last hyena to make it into quarantine. And then once you're done, we can put you in here. And then we can figure out where all of our education boards and all of that paraphernalia is going to go. I do wish that this was square in front, and I wonder if it'll let me work on it. I thought that when you placed elevated path, it was square all the time. Oh, square edges. You just turn it on as the option. Duh. Obstructed by fence. Yeah. Fence. Line of grid. Square. And then deselect this. You're gonna have to move this staff path section. But you probably knew that already. So you'll go like that. And now, if you grab this staff path and you take it down to 5, which I think is what these normally are, you should be able to go elevated length 1, and then swing this around. Don't like how that looks. I guess that's okay. Nice square it off the gallery. I'm going to put some nice shades and stuff on top of there as well. You could probably come back a bit like that. I also want this to be theming, because I don't want people using this viewing platform or peeking into Hamadryas baboons. I want them to use it only for striped hyena. Also, that is my large research center done. And maybe other things? Did I get anything else out of that? No, it's only research center large. But that's great, because I've been looking forward to that. We should probably get it in now. We just can't really afford it. Actually, sure we can. Whatever. Nope, that's vet surgery. Be more careful. There you go. And then zoo. Work zones. Animal care. Add research center to it. And then hire a second vet. You spend all of your time working in Horn of Africa animal care. And you're basically only going to research. I want to blast through this research. As far as theming goes, I do want to finish power. So let's get power done. And I'm going to hope that's the right mechanic for the work zone. Actually, is that building even in a work zone? Because it shouldn't be. It is in another work zone. What work zone are you in? Because I don't think the mechanics workshop should be in a work zone. It's an animal care. Don't be in animal care. I want anybody to be able to use that mechanic. I'm not that fussed about it. So waiting for Gibran to clear quarantine. And then we'll go ahead and move you in. And then we'll see what other animals are available for us. Our budget is going to take a real beating this year, I think. Because it's taking us a while to get these animals in, and their income streams aren't really going to be set up. All right, everybody is ready. Move. You live in striped hyena now. Show me Somali wild ass. A male! Boom. And then give me these 3 female ones. Send them in as well. Didn't we also need a male American Standard donkey? American Standard. No males yet. Also, what height restriction does a Somali wild ass have? Like, can they just jump a normal fence? I didn't even check. Grade 3 over 4.1. Game looks a grade 2. That's a problem. You're gonna have to use wood log. And then you're going to have to upgrade all of the parts in the front to have windows. Hideous. Absolutely horrible, but we'll make it look better later on. The important thing is that we have our Somali wild asses to actually put in the first place. What about... There's no way the donkeys need a grade 3 fence. They're like farm animals, man. They gotta be like grade 2. Grade 3! They just kick their way through a chain link fence? That's crazy. Alright, striped hyenas, what do you guys need? More short grass. Okay. I can put short grass around the back here. A little something like this. good. I could do soil. Probably along the front, where we're eventually going to have a trench. Won't need a trench for the viewing platform, though, which is kind of nice. And then I guess we'll do a little bit of soil back here, too. And then they're totally fine with that level of sand. They do need hard shelter. So I'll go ahead and make the world's fastest hard shelter build here. Freeze block. Line it up with the barrier like this. You really don't have to spend a lot of time lining this up exactly, because eventually this whole thing will get torn down. Bump this barrier out a bit so that they don't escape when they're just sitting in their shelter, because they're technically outside the barrier radius. There you go. There's a part of me that was like, you could just make this thing floating. But no, that would be ugly. We'll just make it a giant stone brick house instead. Like this. And then give me a gable. Gable over here as well. Third gable. Is that right? Whatever. I guess it is, but I don't exactly know how the roof is going to line up with that. Oh wait, yeah, I do. Pitched roof. Corrugated plastic. 1 meter. And then there should be a 2 meter double pitch in here somewhere. That does not fit. So the 1 meter double pitch fits. I can't handle it, just like being so flat. Even though it's temporary. So instead I'm gonna make it look like a barn, which is like also wrong. But at least it'll be wrong in a way that is interesting to look at. Question mark? Yeah, there you go. It's the hyena barn. Oh man, I can't wait to rebuild you. I hate that. I don't like that at all. But it'll be hard shelter for them. So habitat, bedding. There you go. You guys come in there to sleep whenever you want. Are you shy about visitors? How do you feel about people looking into your house? Neutral. Okay, that's fine. You don't have privacy needs then, basically. So terrain is good. Hard shelter is good. Plant coverage is good. Enrichment. Go ahead, give you a water pipe. Please stop typing. There you go. Water pipe. large food tray, maybe over by the keeper gate. I should move this keeper gate because I think it would be interesting for guests to watch them eat, which means I want the keeper gate to be like here. I'll let you drop that animal off. And then I am replacing this gate. I don't know. Kill it. And move it. Rename it. Spotted hyena, re-add it to work group. Horn of Africa animal care. Spotted hyena. Striped hyena, rather. Don't like you. Square that off. What could this be? This could be a thing. I don't know what kind of thing it could be, though. Bathroom? You could just have a tiny bathroom there. We could also just make the viewing platform bigger. Yeah, you know what? Maybe let's do that instead. Let's make a bigger viewing platform. But now you got me thinking. It's so much space up there. Yeah, we might reconfigure it later. Let's not get too mired in the details until we actually give this thing a full design pass. What do you mean escaped? What are you talking about? You're not escaped. Is it because you're confused about the exhibit that you're supposed to be in? There you go. You figured it out. Okay. Now, you're going to need actual enrichment in here. Let's do a bamboo feeder. Blood scent marker. Cardboard box. Gift box. Sprinkler. Really? 87%. Not enough food enrichment. But you do have enough food enrichment. Oh, maybe not. I guess I just needed to reload. You can have a pinata zebra as well. Not that bad boy. Alright, so that's hyena's done. Let's start putting in our information and education for them. Grab our habitat board, show me power so that I know where the first place this can exist is. Which appears to be right here. It's gonna look ugly, but I'm gonna leave it above ground so it's easier to configure. Like, this is going to look hideous for a little while, okay? I know. It's okay. Don't cry about it. Wide striped hyena. See? There you go. Striped hyena. Audio. Striped hyena. Education board. Striped hyena. Range is 11 on that speaker. So I can do like one more. How about here? And then I can do one more. Ooh, not bad. I can do one more. Maybe two more. Up here. We're just gonna have to turn down the volume on the audio speakers. So up you come. Turn it down by how much? Probably to like 8. What do you mean it's been vandalized? I didn't copy a vandalized speaker, did I? Oh no. Oh no. Alright, fine, replace. I guess I should be checking to see if things are vandalized a little more often. You also probably need your volume turned down just a little bit. Take you to 8, and then we'll take you to 8. They have this tiny bit of interference in the front, but that's okay. You are going to need donation bins. Here and here. And then also here and here. And then you will need an animal talk point, which I think would be quite lovely right up here. How do you name these things again? Animal name talk. So this would be striped hyena. Educational content, striped hyena. You start in January. Add it to my work zone. We are going to start moving guest talks into guest care because I want the guest services staff rest building to be oriented around making guests happy. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to say this is Horn of Africa guest services staff room. A little wordy, but it gets the point across. And that is all we should need to have the striped hyenas be functional and start generating revenue. They are going to be visible from along here. Actually, you know what? Change that now. I don't want them to be visible from along there. No one looks in from that way. It's not allowed. Later, that will be actual scenery that prevents it from being visible, but for now, we'll just do it that way. Our Somali wild asses are not quite ready. Vet research, so fast. Beautiful. Sandcat's done. We can do African spurred tortoise. And we can do sacred scarab beetle. Let's knock out both of them. Hopefully there's not a conflict with our work zones now that I think about that. Sandcat's maturing actually means we need to donate those. Yeah, you guys gotta go. Because your parents do not like having you around. Although this one's gold. Should we save you? What are your genes like? Really good. Okay, we're gonna save you. And we're gonna donate you and you. Frontier Zoo, we actually just need to quick trade. So you're gone. And then you're gone. And you're gone. And I can release both of you to the wild. And then I need to get a female sandcat from the market. Sandcat. Lady sandcat. With decent genes. 100% fertility genes. But 5 years old. Grab Ezra instead. You head to quarantine. Good. You hang out there, and then you're gonna get to meet your new friend very soon. I also, while I was in here, I think I saw a male American donkey. Let's go. You wait in Trade Center. You guys are almost ready for prime time. Slowly have guests trickling into this section of the zoo. He's going crazy with that box. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, kill him. Good job, Maddie. Great work. Maddox, crazy breeding. Should probably go take a look at that exhibit before too long. Alright, you guys are ready to move in? Go ahead. And now that you're cleared, we can get our American standard donkeys in to quarantine. You guys start quarantining here. Next thing you'll want to grab is caracals. Or did you grab them already? You grabbed them already. You just need to prep the exhibit. What do caracals need in terms of fencing? Grade 3 climb proof over 9 feet? Over 10 feet. What is 10 feet to meters? 10 feet to meters. 3 meters. Alright, so you're going to need a 3 meter climb proof grade 3 fence. Grade 3, right? Yeah, grade 3. Barriers. That's going to be wood log. Here. Kick it up to... take you to 3.1 just to be on the safe side. We're going to need to put a climb-proof barrier in on your right side. And then in the front, we're going to need to window that up. I think this habitat's going to look neat. There's going to be like a caracal house back here that'll be good for giving them shelter, and then they're going to have a lot of space to just run around back and forth in here, which I think will be cool. You guys put these donkeys away. Every time I add a new animal... Oh, you're out of quarantine, by the way. You can move into the sandcat house. You can make me many new sandcats that people will be excited to see. Anytime we add a new animal to this section, I am going to add a new keeper. You are Horn of Africa Animal Care. Should probably also add a new educator every time I do that. Actually, I'll add a new educator for like every 2. And then we'll see how that balances out. You'll be guest services. Here's our Somali ass. Hard shelter requirements. You need way more rock. Huh? I can give you hard shelter back here. What is your feeling about guests? You're confident for guests, so you don't need privacy shelter. I can give you some hard shelter right over here. I'm just going to make a barn again. Came out great the first time. Why change the formula? And then we'll tighten some of these fences up so that they actually fit to the exhibit. Like so. I'll go here and here. And then you will go here and here and here and here. Take me to my roofs. Corrugated. Pitch. Raise that part up. And then get your breeze block pieces in. Breeze block. This look for the hoofstock I do like, and I'm probably going to make the eventual habitat look like that, or the eventual hard shelter look like that. But not for the hyenas, though. Alright, you need way more rock. I'll give you some rock here along the back. I'll give you some rock along this side. And then maybe some rock along the front here. That'll do. Plant coverage, you don't need it. Enrichment items. You can have a grab ball. You can have a water pipe. You can have a hanging grazer feeder. You can have a grazing ball feeder. I do not want to give you a scratching tree, because they just, like, they don't look like they should be in your house. You're a desert animal. I don't think you would have a Scots pine to go scratching on. Mechanic research done. Power 1. Good. Is that everything you need? That should be everything you need. Yes, you are good to go. Okay. Okay, adexes are mating way too much. Let's pause this very briefly. We're about to have so many more adexes than we can actually handle. What is your problem? Oh, I bet you're shy and can't find a place to hide. Yeah, stressed out. Can't find anywhere to hide. We probably need to find a more permanent solution to that in that adex habitat, because I don't think this is cutting it. Currently in quarantine right now should be donkeys, so we need to prep the donkey exhibit. This. You are Wes. You will also need to grab information about the Somali wild ass. So you'll have one sit here. Change all these over. We're going all the way down to wide S. S. So on S. And then we will be duplicating. I'm going to go in front of this. You are going to go in front of this. I think that's it for now. Grab some donation bins. Here, here, and here. Come marvel at our Somali wild ass exhibit. They look so good, you won't believe your eyes. Did you not put the... Where the male donkey? Oh, there you go. You got him. Okay. You were just taking your time. When you put these donkeys in, you're going to need your third keeper for Horn of Africa. Animal care. Habitat cleanliness is a disease risk for fennec foxes. Yeah, that's pretty true. Camel also isn't looking great. Adex also isn't looking great. Hire 2 more keepers. Both of you are going to be responsible for Arid Sahara animal care, and I also don't want you to feed. I want you to only clean, and I would like you to get to work. Let's make sure these places are staying tidy. Let's make sure we are appropriately staffed. You probably want 2 more vendors over here. You will will be Horn of Africa Guest Services. You will also be Horn of Africa Guest Services. I'm also remembering that when you buy a staff build or a guest services building, it assigns the employee that came with it to the building, so we need to go change all this. Your Horn of Africa Guest Services, Guest Services, Guest Services, and Guest Services for Horn of Africa. There you go. I don't like how angled this is. That's better. Rowan is almost done. Everybody else is ready. You guys okay? I'll just poop it at the same time? Alright. Far be it for me to tell you how to live. Get these donkeys in there. Head over to our animal storage, get the caracals ready. And then I also need a Hamadryas baboon. I think. Or like more. Maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't think I need. If anything, I'd want a second man. Guessing tickets are underpriced. Okay, let's go to 22 and 12. A little bit of extra money coming in. Because we did just add an enormous amount of animals. Lisa has arrived. Lisa wants a ton of grass and less soil. Okay. Well, not a ton, just like a little bit. You can have some grass back here and around here. And then less soil. I'm just going to be real with you, Lisa. I don't know where soil is in your exhibit right now. Oh, there it is. Found it. Sure. And then you'll also want hard shelter. We're going to integrate hard shelter into this building eventually. So we'll bring it out like this. And it's going to look like this. And then this is going to be like a fake back wall. You're going to be a window frame. This is going to be a nightmare to build later on. I'm just letting you know now, this is going to be a very complicated grid building to set up. And I'm not really looking forward to it. But that's the break sometimes. Oh, you're not going to be able to gable this one. You're just going to go like this. Which is fine. So you'll have a bit of this going on. Bit of this, and then a bit of this. Here's your hard shelter. Good. Environment fine, enrichment none, bad, horrible. Have a water pipe, have a grab ball, have a hanging grazer feeder. Rubbing pillar you can definitely have. You can have a little sprinkler up front to keep yourself cool, and then have like an herb scent marker over here and over here to draw your attention, and have like a veggie cape over here. You can be a friendly guest. Like, oh, that's cute. Look at that donkey. It's nighttime. Morning. So now we can bring these over. Prepare to teach our guests about the American standard donkey, which in my head is like, you know, they interbreed with the Somali wild ass, and that's why the Somali wild ass is in such rough shape. Wide A. Why am I not seeing American standard donkey? Is it under D? Is it under S? There it is. Wide standard donkey. Duplicate you. No, not you. Duplicate the whole thing. Move you to here. Then to about here. There's a very small overlap, but I think it'll be fine. And then to here. All of this is going to get repositioned later. I'm just putting in the basic framework for now. And then donation bin here, 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 here. Next is going to be our caracal, as soon as they're out of quarantine. Which I did move them in, right? Animal trading? Yeah, you did. And then we just have Red Fox and Hamadryas Baboon to put in. The viewing platform for the hyena is popping off. Guests love it up here. Convinced I want the shelter building to be there now that I look at it. I may want it to be like here. And then keep this as more open space for viewing. But then, I don't know, because like, this is a... If the shelter's gone, you have a perfectly clear sight line into the backstage area. I don't love that either. We'll figure something out. Amula has joined a pack. Great job, Amula. I'm so happy for you. Also, did you want to put in your info center and... Yeah, you have the money to do it now. Merch. We should research a new merch store. Like, we could put a Hats Fantastic back here instead of a Looney Balloons. But for sure, let's get an information booth here. And then work zones, guest services, add it, and then take the employee that came with it, which is you, and add them. High amount of litter. Really? Where? Oh, geez. Here. Also, what the hell? We have protesters too? Why are you mad? Cheapo's fine. He's chilling. Like, he could not be happier. Look at him. I guess he's upset that his food enrichment is a little low. Maybe I can give you a little bit more food enrichment. Would you guys like a melon feeder? Would that get you excited? Is it going to roll down the hill if you put it there? No, it's going to be fine. That does only put you at 40 of 45, though. Put a hanging grazer feeder back here and just hide it inside the building. You use the same trick with the ad axes, and I think it looks fine. There you go. Okay, why is there so much litter over here, though? Are we just missing a bin? No, you have a bin here. It's full. This is a caretaker problem. Add another bin. Staff. Caretakers. Entrance Plaza Guest Services. I have 3 working Entrance Plaza Guest Services, and I have 3 working Arid Sahara Guest Services, and they're not getting to it. Well, I guess just hire like 2 more of them. Because it is definitely littery over there. So one of you... Actually, I'm going to keep both of you in Entrance Plaza. I'm going to put one of you in Entrance Plaza Guest Services, and I'm going to put one of you in Arid Sahara Guest Services. Maybe that'll keep you walking around a little bit. But yeah, you could clean all of this stuff up. I just don't know why you're mad. There you go. You're leaving the zoo. You're better now. You got over it. Isha's almost through quarantine. Isha is through quarantine. Come in here. We will now need to move in our red foxes. And then we are almost out of time for this year already somehow. Our total profit, despite the fact that we have spent a fortune on staff, on increased animals, on shop upkeep, on exhibit tax, on everything, we've also increased our income by $20,000. So, oh wait, is that going to count the loan? That might be counting the loan. Even if it is, man. We're making money hand over fist. We can afford a lot more staff upgrades at this rate. Deliba is about to die of old age. No, we're going to send you to a farm upstate. Never mind, we're going to release you to the wild for 21 credits. I didn't think it let you do that with old animals, but apparently it does. And then let's go check on our caracal and see what you need. Oh, you're sad. Okay, you're missing climbing. That I can fix. You're missing hard shelter. That I can fix. Let's get your hard shelter in first. You'll never guess what design we're going to use. That's right. You've seen this one before. I would like to have a guest viewing area for this section of the zoo. For stuff like the caracal and the red fox that are definitely going to need hard shelter. But the path layout and the shape of the terrain over here just doesn't really lend itself to that. It's kind of a long and thin section of the zoo. And as a result, I'm maximizing my surface area by having the guest paths run around the outside, and then having animals be on the inside. Because a caracal, for example, I think they might even be like crepuscular. I don't think they're fully nocturnal. That's too tall. I don't think they're fully nocturnal, but I'm pretty sure that they're like not out and about in the middle of the day. So if a guest is here in the middle of the day, the caracal's probably going to be like inside his shelter sleeping. And they'd likely want to see that. But fortunately, as far as I know, or unfortunately, depending on how realistic you want Planet Zoo to be, I don't think stuff like being crepuscular or diurnal or nocturnal is actually modeled. And the animals are just active all the time. So I can see that something, I can see that as something that like breaks immersion. But it's also not something I think we need to have as a design consideration here, given the other constraints that we have. Let's touch up these barriers now. It'll come to here. And then back to here. All the way over to here. And then to here. I don't know what you're trying to snap to right now. Whatever it is, it's incorrect. And then do about here. And then here. Put your anti-climb back in. Anti-climb right. No, anti-climb left, apparently. So you missed a bit of breeze block. Did you miss it over here too? Realistically, these could be null barriers, honestly. There you go. Just save yourself a little bit of money. Alright, you now have hard shelter. You also need climbing. I'm going to build you a fairly simple climbing frame, although you are a pretty big cat. So I'm going to give you the thick lug. You're just going to have something like this. And then we're going to alter the height of some of these in the middle. Give you some platforms that are going to sit on each one of these. That are going to be held up by more logs. This one I actually think could just be freestanding. Give me angle snap here. But this one can move a little bit. Give me... You know what, actually? Change these into climbable natural trunks. And then in between them, you can do climbable logs. These you don't need angle snap for, because you'll just want them to run from tree to tree. It can actually be like a lot higher than that. Here, this should only need to be 2 meters to reach. There you go. Over here, same thing. Inside that tree. And then give it a twist to point towards the other one. Something like that. And then on top of this tree. You really don't want to let me do it? That's fine. We'll give you another little platform. This one can be held up by little thin poles. Can let it run for a bit so it gets a little brighter. For me, please. And then you can have a light up here. This you will want to angle snap. What about here? How much climbing space does that give you? 127 of 135? Okay. Then we'll keep going with this side. I just have more... I want bigger trees. I guess I could do the climbable branches. The climbable branches are kind of fun. Do something like this. A little bit. I don't really know, like, we're just freestyling. Something like that. Something like this. That's tough to climb on, right? You like that? How are you feeling about that? 100? 158 of 135? We might need to add one more climbing frame if you ever decide to have babies. But for now, that'll be fine. Give you blood scent marker, blood scent marker. You can have a gift box. You can have a... Yeah, you can have a pinata zebra to hunt. You can have a rubbing pad. Come up here and give your pad a rub. And then you can have a water pipe. Caracal's done. Are my red foxes coming along? They're still in quarantine. What do you need to thrive, though? Red fox. Grade 2 over 10 feet. So you're going to need a 3-meter grade 2. Doesn't matter if it's climbable or not, so we can use chain link for that, but you are shy. So that's annoying. Also, good thing we put you and the caracal together, because your fences need to be the same height. It's that node that you're going to be upset about. And possibly that one as well. Also, you can connect this path in. There you go. Try it again. Do not turn the caracal section into chain link. Like, I know I could just put anti-climb on it, but I'd rather not. Take you up to 3.1. Take you up to 3.1. Take all of this. No, no, no. It's up to 3. No. Okay. Then we do this. You go down. You go down. Until you're at 2. 2.21, sure. You are really gonna fight me on this, aren't you? Alright, how about this? Point 1. What the heck? There we go. Oh, it's so much easier. Okay. 3.1 already. These are almost certainly going to need hard shelter. So I think I'll probably put it at the back. And then we'll just get rid of that. Red fox. Work zones. Of Africa Animal Care. Red fox. We're going to overrun a little bit here. I'm going to play into January just to get the Hamadryas baboon placed. I know it technically breaks the rules where we're doing 1 year per section of the zoo, but we're so close to just having this entire section resolved so that we can start on it next time that I'm just going to power through it even though it pushes us a little bit into January. If that makes you mad, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. Oh, you can also get all of your educational stuff over here into the caracals. Start about here. Wide caracal. Educational content caracal, educational content caracal. Okay. Second one will live right about here. You also didn't put any animal toxin for Somali wild ass or for American donkey. So you need to go back and do that as well. But let's get that taken care of first. Somali wild ass hog. You have a little bit of room here to bump the path out. No, I hate that. It looks so good. Never mind. I just wanted to try something. We'll do the Somali wild ass hog at the entrance to the food court. Good visitor capture there, and then we'll do the American Standard Donkey Talk at the River Bend. Somali wild ass. Somali wild ass Tom. It'll be in March. American Standard Donkey. You'll be in May. Caracal, you will be in July. Caracal. Caracal. July. We will add all of these to our guest services work zone for Horn of Africa. Done. Done. And done. And then I'll continue waiting for these red foxes to clear quarantine. This is going to be a very small exhibit. I'm looking forward to figuring out exactly how to do it. We could have it cut back a little bit here. We have a little bit of extra space to play with right there if we need to fit more hard shelter in, but not a ton. That research is done. Huge. Which one? Sacred Scarab Beetle. Active disease. That's not good. We should probably fix that. Can I put new stuff in here now? I can. Large Rock ABC. The foxes are ready. Move the foxes in. And then prepare the Hamadryas baboons. Do we have any more of them available? No. Oh, they're using it. Okay, it's a little odd. I think if I pull you down, we may not have that kind of oddity happen. We'll see. Definitely freaked out a little bit there. A shot Fennec Fox is trying to pack. Striped Hyena is about to mate. Good. Our red foxes are being added. Great. Please don't need like 100% grass and 30% plant cover. Please. Alright, it's way too much sand, but it can be soil instead. So grass along the back. Taking care not to irritate the caracals. And then the light soil all along the front. And through the middle. There you go. Environment. You don't care about plant coverage. That's so good. You also don't care about hard shelter, which is good, but you're shy, so I'm going to have to give you hard shelter anyway. Have one of these. Blood scent marker up front. Cardboard box up front. Tennis ball up front. Skittle feeder. Oh, you can use burrows. Never mind. You don't need hard shelter at all. You can just use a burrow. You still need more toy enrichment, though? That was sprinkler. Right. Duplicate you. I'm gonna set you up here. And we'll just... We'll turn your audio range down by 1. From 11 to 10. Yeah, that's fine. Red fox. You. Red fox. And then you. Wide. R. Red fox. We probably only have room for 2 U's in this part. So you're gonna go about here. And then we're gonna need to turn your audio range down as well. About 8. 8 will do. And then your animal talk is going to go here. And it's going to be in September. Red fox talk. About a month. September. And then the Hamadryas baboon will be November. But really, I want to get one more pack of them in here. I'm gonna buy another 5. And I want one more male. Because there's actually something I want to know about the Hamadryas baboons. If you go to their Zoopedia, It says they could be in a group size of 6 to 100, up to 30 males, up to 99 females. But then also males possess harems in larger groups. And it also says in their guide that mature males lead harems of females in so-called one-male units, or OMU. So I wonder if I can have more than a single one-male unit in the exhibit. Is basically what I'm wondering. It's never going to use the facility. That's what facility? Also, what barrier? Grade 4 climb proof over 3 meters. Alright, we're gonna have to use like brick. Oh, you're queuing to use quarantine. That's fine. That's okay. That's totally fine. Grade 4. Really? Alright. Oop. Oop. What height though? Over 3 meters. This is going to be one where null barriers are going to be a lifesaver. Put you up to about 3.2. We will make you climb proof. Can I not? Can I not climb proof brick? Oh, it's not climbable anyway. Duh. Class. Oh, and donation bins. Yeah. Duplicate here. 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 Here and here. And bring your animal information down. We're gonna go here. Wide H. H. Nope, not 9. Oh, they're not in the exhibit yet. Duh. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait until they actually exist. Also, you can bump your audio range up to like 11. There you go. Did you get them all in here? You're working on them. Mail? Nice. So we're almost certainly going to have this section of the zoo buckle under the weight of staff obligations, and we're going to have to keep a very close eye on how those work priorities are holding up as this section of the zoo starts to spin up. I'm pretty sure that we don't have enough of basically anything to keep this section of the zoo running. Oh my god, why? We have to fix this addax habitat. The stress is too much. And it probably means cordoning off this entire section. Not to the addaxes, but like the view of the guests. So let's do it now. Let's move your hanging feeder around so that it's sitting out in front. You can eat off of that. For the fence itself, I really like the way this fence came out, and I'm gonna use it. So starting about here, we're gonna put fence in. Then we're going to aim to curl it around into that as our join spot. guy. Actually, you need to move this whole thing. Spin it like this. Pull it there so that it's flush. No, 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 no. Pull this up to meet it. And then pull this over. Or just rotate this thing in place a little bit. No, grab both of these and advanced move them to get them to hook up like that. Then just slide this thing over because it doesn't matter how it lines up with the rock. So that's privacy barrier mark 1. Privacy barrier mark 2. It's going to be over here. But we're going to need to leave a small gap in the fence for the keeper to come through. So you're going to start about here. Pull you to here and then rotate you a little bit. Grab just you. Have that work as your end piece. Then duplicate this around. Have it go like here. And then have this turn fairly aggressively. To go into the room. Is that going to be sufficient to keep the adexes from getting freaked out by guests? Hopefully. Because it really breaks up line of sight. And if I really need to entice them to come back here, I'll give them some bedding. But I don't want it to deform the landscape. So we'll put a huge piece of path down. There you go. So now, if you need to get away from the guests, you come back here. Okay? Oh, they know. Oh, they know. They know exactly how to do it. Good. Let's hope that that fixes it. We did that. That's done. Well, both of these are done. Alright. Crisis resolved. Hamadryas baboons are ready. Move you in here. We're going to run out to like April, which is annoying. But it does mean that next time we pop in, Horn of Africa's done, and we have so much money to play with here still. Yeah, they love going back there. You know what? Just to entice them to come back there even further. Show me what enrichment items you like. I'm going to give you like a small feeder back here too. Yeah, stop complaining. The issue's fixed. Oh, maybe not. Staff are queuing to use the quarantine because there's so many animals in it. It's fine. It's expected. They're going to start dropping off these Hamadryas baboons soon. Lisa's about to mate. News. Last check for a male. We'll have to try next time. Alright. And then what do you guys need? Welfare 47. Hard shelter. Hard shelter is going to suck. Because there's going to be a lot of them in here. I'll give you a little bit of grass to keep you happy. You need a climbing frame. I'm feeling lazy. So temporarily, I'll just borrow this big one that I made for the caracals, because you don't need that much of it. There you go. Knock yourselves out. That's plenty. Where am I going to put your hard shelter? I guess like right here. So move this even further over. Breeze. Get it roughly flush with the path. I don't want them to be able to jump from their climbing structure onto the roof of their shelter. So I'm just trying to find the exact right spot to put that thing. Hopefully there is fine for now. So many heart shelter buildings we're gonna have to build for this section of the zoo. I am not exactly excited. But maybe we'll get better at it. In the course of having to do so many. Roofs, give me corrugated plastic 1 meter. This one I'm not even gonna put the gable in. Or I'm not gonna put like the big gable in the middle. You are going to be unique because you don't have it. That's your defining characteristic. Shuffle these walls around a bit. You're going to go here. You are going to become null barrier. And you're going to go here. So that's your hard shelter. Yep. Right? Yeah, okay. Plants, you don't need any coverage. Enrichment items, you can have a cardboard box up, like over here to play with. You can have a grab ball. You can have a block of ice. You can have a feeding platform. You can have a sprinkler over here to keep cool with, and you can have a water pipe over here in the shade. You need food enrichment too. Oh, alright, have a jelly cake. You need even more toys. I have a gift box. I don't have any more food enrichment items for you, so you're just gonna have to wait on them. That research is complete for African spurred tortoise. Did you get anything? We have so many habitat enrichments for them that we just don't even know about. Okay. Good. So we have a lot of research to get through still. Should probably figure out where this disease risk is coming from, and we have a ton of research to still do. But we have 18,000 in the bank, and one of the things that I'll do in the interim between episodes is I'll actually set up our official research center over here so that it uses up this last bit of space in the old Arid Sahara section. It is April 13th of year 12, so we've definitely overrun the time that we gave ourselves to set up this section of the zoo, but it took a lot longer to get animals through quarantine than I thought. That's just the way it kind of goes. So this is going to be the Horn of Africa. We're going to have a little Nile River kind of walkthrough. We're going to have a second guest plaza over here that we'll set up. We'll have an Egyptian fruit bed over here when we have the money for it. And over the course of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10 probably episodes, we're going to go through and we're going to decorate each one of these habitats one by one. So if you want to be around for when that happens, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and that you have notifications turned on so you know when these videos are going to come out. And if you have any suggestions, advice, or feedback about the way that we're going to make this section of the zoo look, why don't you get down into the comments and let me know so that I can incorporate that over the next couple episodes. But till then, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.